Chapter 1, Introduction to Geometry. Section 1, Getting Started. Our objectives after studying this section we'll be able to recognize points, recognize lines, line segments, rays, angles, and triangles. In this diagram, there are 5 points, A, B, C, D, and E. We named the points by capital letters. These diagrams right here represent lines. Lines are straight and they extend infinitely in both directions. You can name a line by this little letter here. So this right here is called line M, or by points on the line. So this right here, this line in the middle would be called line DB, or line BD, or line DC, any way you want. In algebra, you learned about a number line, which is formed when a numerical value is assigned to each point on a line. This up here is a number line. The numerical value of A would be -2, and B is 1.5. Line segments are like lines, except they do not extend infinitely in both directions. They have an endpoint, which they stop at. When naming a segment, you must name them in terms of their endpoints. So this would be segment RS. This is a ray, which is a combination of a line and a segment. You can think about it like that. So it has one endpoint, and one end of it extends infinitely in its direction. When we name a ray, we must name the endpoint first so that it's clear where the ray begins. The ray on the left is called ray AB, and the ray in the middle should be called ray CD or ray CE. As long as the endpoint is given first, any other point on the ray can be used in its name, which is why it can be CD or CE. Next is an angle. Two rays that have the same endpoint will form an angle. And the endpoint where they meet is called the vertex of an angle. When naming an angle, you can name it by the number placed inside of the angle near the vertex. So this right here would be called angle 3. You can also name it by the letter that marks the point of the vertex, which is A. So this can be called angle A. Or you can name it by the points on the angle. So angle BAC or CAB. This shape right here is a triangle. When naming a triangle, you must name it by its points. So this is triangle ABC. The triangle is a union of 3 segments. As you can see right here, a triangle is formed when segment AB, segment BC, and segment AC are in union.
Section 1.2, Measurement of Segments and Angles. In this section, we will learn about measuring segments, angles, classifying angles, naming parts of a degree, and recognizing congruent angles in segments. We measure segments by using instruments such as rulers or meter sticks. We can see here that AB measures as 2.5 inches and CD measures as 5 centimeters. And we can see that PQ is 6 units. Angles are measured by using protractors. We measure angles in degrees. A measure of an angle is the amount of turning you do if you were standing at the vertex. If you were standing at the vertex and you turned all the way around, you would have turned 360 degrees. Here, ray AP appears to have been turned 1/4 of the way around from ray AR. So we can guess that angle A is approximately 90 degrees. Angle 1 has turned less than 1/4, so we can guess that it's 60 degrees. Angle BOC turned more than 1/4, so we can guess that's 130 degrees. Acute angles measure in between 0 and 90 degrees. A right angle measures at 90 degrees. An obtuse angle measures in between 90 and 180 degrees. A straight angle measures at 180 degrees. Here we can see all 3 angles are equal to 50 degrees. This means that they are all congruent angles. Congruent angles are angles that have the same measure. Congruent segments are segments that have the same length. You can see all 3 segments have the same length of 3 centimeters. We use tick marks to indicate congruent angles and segments. Here we can see angle Q is equal to congruent to angle T. segment GH is congruent to segment RS. Segment ZW is congruent to segment YX, and angle W is equal to angle X. Here, we are trying to find the measure of angle 1. It tells us here that angle ABC is a right angle, which means it's 90 degrees. The first thing we need to do is add the two equations together and set them equal to 90 degrees. After solving for x, we have to plug in x into the equation of angle 1, and we get 64 degrees. Here it's asking for the length of segment AB. It says the perimeter of the rectangle ABCD is 66 units, and DC is twice as long as CB. From the information, we can tell that DC and AB are equal to 2x, CB and DA are equal to x. So after adding those up, we get 6x, and we have to set that equal to 66 units. So we do 66 divided by 6, which is 11, which means x is 11. And since AB is equal to 2x, we have to multiply 11 by 2, which is 22.